You're sitting there staring at your phone screen. You've got your banking app open on one tab and Credit Karma open on the other. You're looking at that big, beautiful, bright green number. Maybe it's a 788. Maybe it's an 824. You feel a little surge of pride. You've worked hard for that number. You've never missed a payment. You keep your balances perfectly managed, but then you swipe over to your banking app and there it is, the reality check. You've got $14,000 in credit card debt spread across 3 different cards. You're paying hundreds of dollars a month in interest alone. You're stressed about money every single day. But hey, at least your credit score is excellent, right? If you're sitting there thinking, that's literally me, I need you to listen very, very closely today because you are falling into the biggest, most expensive trap the modern financial system has ever designed. You are trading your actual real-world wealth for a high score in a video game run by the banks. My name is Billy, and I spend way too much time thinking about the arbitrary, manipulative rules that banks invent to keep you broke. If you're someone who feels like you're doing everything right, following all the rules, but still drowning in interest payments and financial anxiety, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's the thing. We have been fundamentally brainwashed about what a credit score actually is. From the time we are old enough to open our first checking account, we are taught that the FICO score is the ultimate measure of our financial worth. It is the adult equivalent of a report card. If you have an 800, you get an A+. You're a good person, you're responsible. If you have a 600, you're failing. You're irresponsible, you're a risk. But look, that is a complete and utter lie. Your credit score is not a measure of your wealth. It is not a measure of your income. It is not a measure of your net worth, your saving habits, or your financial freedom. Do you know what a credit score actually is? Let me give you the real definition. A credit score is simply an I love debt score. It is a metric used by banks to determine how profitable you are as a customer and how likely you are to pay them back the money you borrow from them so they can keep charging you interest. That's it. Let's be real for a second. The system is designed to gamify debt. It's designed to give you a dopamine hit every time that little green arrow points up. And because we are so terrified of that number going down, because we've been told a drop in our credit score is a moral failure, we make terrible, mathematically disastrous decisions just to protect it. We keep old toxic credit cards open and pay stupid $99 annual fees just to preserve our average age of accounts. We refuse to consolidate our debt because we don't want to ruin our credit utilization ratio. We stay trapped in a cycle of high interest payments because we are paralyzed by the fear of a temporary point drop. And let me tell you, the banks are making an absolute killing off this fear right now. Let's look at the actual numbers. As we sit here in Q1 2026, the financial landscape is brutal. The Federal Reserve has kept rates elevated and credit card companies have responded with utter ruthlessness. Right now, in the first quarter of 2026, the average credit card interest rate is sitting at a staggering 24.8%. Let that sink in, nearly 25%. If you have penalty APRs, you might be looking at 29.9% or even 32%. Meanwhile, the total credit card debt in the US has officially blown past the $1.2 trillion mark. The average household carrying revolving debt right now is sitting on about $8,700 in balances. If you're paying 24.8% on $8,700 and you're only making minimum payments, it will take you over 9 years to pay it off, and you will pay more than $11,000 in interest alone. You are literally buying the bank a used Honda Civic just for the privilege of holding onto their plastic. This is the reality for millions of Americans right now. They are drowning, but they won't make the moves necessary to save themselves because they are too worried about their credit score. So today we are going to break the matrix. I'm going to teach you a specific, strategic financial move. It is a move that is going to take your precious, beautiful 800 credit score, drag it out back, and beat it down by 50, 60, maybe even 80 points on purpose. And in the process, it is going to save you thousands of dollars in interest, shave years off your debt payoff timeline, and actually help you build real wealth. All right, so what is this move? I call it the strategic score destruction. It consists of 2 highly controversial actions that you're going to take simultaneously. Action number 1, you're going to apply for a 0% APR balance transfer credit card, transfer all of your high interest debt onto it, and intentionally max out the utilization on that specific card. Action number 2, you are going to mercilessly close your oldest, most established credit card if it carries a predatory predatory annual fee, completely ignoring the fact that it will shorten your credit history. Now, you might be thinking, Billy, are you insane? You just told me to max out a credit card and close my oldest account. Everything I have ever read on the internet, every blog post, every financial guru tells me that credit utilization and age of credit history are the two most important factors in my FICO score. If I do this, my score is going to tank. Yes, it is. That is exactly the point. Here's what most people don't realize. Your credit score is a tool. It is not a trophy. A tool is meant to be used. When you use a hammer to drive a nail, the hammer gets a little scuffed up. When you use your credit score to save yourself from financial ruin, the score takes a temporary hit. Let's break down exactly why people are terrified of this and why that terror is keeping them broke. Your FICO score is made up of 5 categories. 1, payment history, 35%. 2, amounts owed utilization, 30%. 3, length of credit history, 15%. 4, new credit, 10%. 5, credit mix, 10%. When you open a new balance transfer card, you get a hard inquiry. Bam, new credit takes a hit. When you transfer $10,000 onto a card with a $10,000 limit, your utilization on that specific card shoots to 100%. Bam, amounts owed takes a massive hit. When you close that 10-year-old starter card that's charging you a $9 monthly maintenance fee and a $59 annual fee, your average age of accounts plummets. Bam, length of credit history takes a hit. If you execute this move, your score will drop. I've seen people go from a 780 to a 690 in a single month doing this. It looks terrifying on paper, but this is where it gets really interesting, because while your score is dropping, your net worth is secretly skyrocketing. To understand why, we have to stop looking at arbitrary points and start looking at actual, cold, hard math. Let's look at some real dollar figures. Let me introduce you to someone. We'll call him Score Protector Paul. Paul is a great guy. He's got a 790 credit score. He is very proud of his 790 credit score, but Paul also has $15,000 in credit card debt. Paul's debt is spread across 3 different credit cards. Card 1, $5,000 balance at 25% APR. This card has a $15,000 limit, so his utilization is low. Card 2, $5,000 balance at 26% APR. Also a $15,000 limit. Card 3, $5,000 balance at 24% APR. This is his oldest card. He's had it for 12 years. It's a terrible predatory card from a subprime lender that charges him a $99 annual fee, but he refuses to close it because it's his oldest account and it anchors his credit age. Paul has $1,000 a month to put toward his debt because Paul is terrified of his credit score dropping. He refuses to consolidate. He refuses to do a balance transfer because he doesn't want the hard inquiry, and he definitely doesn't want one card sitting at 95% utilization, and he absolutely refuses to close card 3. So Paul pays his $1,000 a month across these 3 cards. Let's run the amortization math for Q1 2026. With a $15,000 total balance and an average interest rate of 25%, Paul is getting hammered. In month 1 alone, Paul is charged approximately $312 in pure interest. That means out of his $1,000 payment, only $688 actually goes toward the principal. If Paul keeps this up, aggressively paying $1,000 every single month, it is going to take him 19 months to become debt-free. Over those 19 months, Paul will pay a total of $3,150 in interest. Plus, over those 2 years, he will pay $198 in annual fees for that useless old credit card he kept open. Total cost of Paul's debt, $15,000 principal, plus $3,150 interest, plus $198 fees equals $18,348. But hey, throughout this entire 19-month journey, Paul's credit score never dipped below 780. He protected the golden egg. He gets a gold star from the banks. He is a good boy. The banks loved him so much they made over $3,300 off of him in pure profit. Now, let's look at scenario B. Let me introduce you to Score Destroyer Sarah. Sarah also has $15,000 in credit card debt spread across the exact same 3 cards. Sarah also has $1,000 a month to put toward her debt, but Sarah doesn't give a a damn about the gamification of the system. Sarah only cares about her net worth. Sarah decides to execute the strategic score destruction. First, she goes online and applies for a top-tier balance transfer credit card. In Q1 2026, there are several cards offering 0% APR on balance transfers for 21 months. She gets approved, but because her debt is high, the bank only gives her a $15,500 credit limit on the new card. Sarah immediately transfers the entire $15,000 balance from her 3 high-interest cards over to the new 0% APR card. There is usually a balance transfer fee of about 3% or 5%. Let's be conservative and say it's 5%. So Sarah pays a $750 fee, bringing her total balance on the new card to $15,750. Now, her new 0% card has a balance of $15,750 and a limit of $15,500. Wait, she went over the limit with the fee? Let's say her limit was $16,000. Her utilization on this single card is sitting at an astronomical 98%. Next, Sarah looks at her old, empty cards. She looks at card 3, the one she's had for 12 years that charges a $99 annual fee. Sarah picks up the phone, calls the subprime lender, and says, cancel it, shut it down. Let's look at what happens to Sarah's credit score. She just added a hard inquiry. She just spiked a single card's utilization to 98%. She just slashed her average age of accounts by closing her oldest card. Sarah's credit score absolutely craters. It drops from a 790 down to a 680 in a single week. Credit Karma sends her 6 separate emergency push notifications. Her banking app turns red. The system tries to make her feel like she just committed financial treason. But let's look at the math. Sarah now owes $15,750 at exactly 0% interest for the next 21 months. Sarah pays her same $1,000 a month. Because there is 0 interest, every single penny of that $1,000 goes straight to the principal. In month 1, her balance drops to $14,750. In month 2, it drops to $13,750. How long does it take Sarah to pay off the debt? 15.7 months. Let's call it 16 months. Sarah is completely debt-free 3 whole months faster than Paul. How much did she pay in interest? $0. How much did she pay in fees? Just the $750 balance transfer fee. She paid $0 in annual fees because she closed that toxic old card. Total cost of Sarah's debt, $15,000 principal plus $750 fee equals $15,750. Let's compare the two. Paul paid $18,348. Sarah paid $15,750. Sarah literally saved $2,598 in cold, hard, after-tax cash. She also got her life back 3 months earlier. She can take that $1,000 a month for those extra 3 months and invest it in an index fund or build her emergency savings or take a vacation. And what about her ruined credit score? Here's the massive secret about credit scores that the banks pray you never figure out. Credit utilization has no memory. I'm going to say that again, and I want you to write it down. Credit utilization has no memory. Unlike a missed payment or a bankruptcy which stains your credit report for 7 to 10 years, utilization only matters for the exact month it is reported. As Sarah pays down that 0% balance, her utilization drops. By month 8, it's under 50%. By month 12, it's under 30%. By month 16, it's at 0%. When Sarah makes that final payment in month 16, her credit score doesn't just recover, it skyrockets back up, often higher than it was before, because now she has a flawless payment history and 0 utilization. Paul paid the banks $2,600 just to rent an 800 credit score for 19 months. Sarah took the temporary hit, kept her $2,600, and got her 800 score back anyway. Who is the actual financial genius here? Look, I get it. Understanding the math is one thing. Actually pulling the trigger is another. The psychological barrier to this move is immense. We have to understand the psychological drivers behind our financial decisions. Why does it physically hurt to see that score drop? It's because of a concept in behavioral economics called loss aversion. Human beings feel the pain of losing something roughly twice as powerfully as they feel the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. Losing 100 points on your credit score feels like a devastating blow to your identity. Gaining $2,600 over 16 months feels abstract. It's hard to visualize. The banks know this. The credit bureaus know this. FICO is a publicly traded company. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, they are all massive for-profit corporations. Their entire business model relies on keeping you engaged with their product. They use the same psychological tricks as social media companies. They use color coding, red for bad, green for good. They use alerts. They create a synthetic environment where you feel like you are failing if you don't play by their specific, highly profitable rules. I want you to think about it like an analogy. Imagine you are in a sinking boat. There is a massive hole in the hull and water is rushing in. This water represents 25% interest credit card debt. Now, on the deck of this sinking boat, you have a beautifully polished, pristine brass bell. This bell represents your credit score. You need to patch the hole in the hull. The only material you have to patch the hole is the brass bell, but you hesitate. You say, I can't melt down the bell to patch the hole. The bell's so shiny. People admire my bell. If I destroy the bell, the boat won't look as nice. Meanwhile, you are drowning. Stop polishing the brass on a sinking ship. Your credit score is utterly useless if you are bleeding out to interest payments every month. Who cares if you can qualify for a 6% mortgage today if you don't have a down payment because all your cash flow is going to Visa and MasterCard? Who cares if you look good on paper to a lender if you have panic attacks every time you look at your checking account? Now, you might be thinking, okay, Billy, but what if I need my credit score? What if I'm about to buy a house or buy a car or rent a new apartment? This is the one single caveat to the strategic score destruction. If you are planning to apply for a mortgage in the next 6 to 12 months, do not do this. Mortgage underwriting is highly sensitive to new accounts and sudden spikes in utilization. If you're buying a house imminently, you have to play the game for a little bit longer. But, and this is a massive but, if you're carrying $15,000 in high interest credit card debt, you probably shouldn't be buying a house right now anyway. You are a financial emergency. Your house is on fire. You do not stop to pick out new curtains when your house is on fire. You put out the fire. If you aren't buying a house, financing a car, or moving to a new apartment in the next 12 months, your credit score is essentially dormant. It is doing absolutely nothing for you. It's just a vanity metric sitting on a server in Atlanta. Put it to work. Let it take the hit. Another objection I hear all the time, but Billy, if I close my oldest credit card, my credit history will be ruined forever. No, it won't. Here's another massive misconception about the FICO scoring model. When you close a credit card in good standing, it does not disappear from your credit report. Under the FICO scoring models like FICO 8, which is the most widely used, closed accounts in good standing continue to stay on your credit report and contribute to your average age of accounts for up to 10 years. 10 years! By the time that account finally falls off your report in 2036, all of your other accounts will have aged a decade. The impact will be negligible. You are paying a $99 annual fee today because you are terrified of a math equation that won't even process for a decade. It's madness. Close the predatory card. Stop paying the fee. All right, let's get tactical. If you're ready to stop playing the gamified debt trap and start prioritizing your actual net worth, here's exactly how you execute the strategic score destruction step by step. Step 1, the debt audit. Sit down tonight, not tomorrow, tonight. Open up every single credit card statement you have. Write down the balance, the interest rate, and the minimum payment for each card. Calculate exactly how much you are paying in interest every single month. I want you to feel the pain of that number. I want it to make you angry, because anger is a fantastic catalyst for financial change. Step 2, the balance transfer search. Go to a reputable site like NerdWallet or Bankrate. Look for the best 0% APR balance transfer cards available right now in April 2026. You are looking for two things: the longest 0% introductory period, you want 15 to 21 months, and the lowest balance transfer fee. Aim for 3%, accept 5% if you have to. Cards like the Wells Fargo, Reflect, or the Citi Simplicity are usually strong contenders in this space, but check the current offers. Step 3, the application and transfer apply for the card. When you are approved, execute the balance transfer immediately. Move the highest interest debt first. Fill that new card up. Maximize it if you have to. Remember, we are not afraid of high utilization on a 0% card. We are embracing it. Step 4, the purge. Once the transfer is clear and your old high interest cards are sitting at a zero balance, look at them objectively. Do any of them charge an annual fee? Do any of them charge monthly maintenance fees? If the answer is yes, call the number on the back of the card and cancel it. The retention department will try to stop you. They will say, "Sir, closing this account will negatively impact your credit score." You will smile smile, take a deep breath, and say, I am aware. Please close the account. Step 5. The avalanche of cash flow. Now that your debt is sitting at 0%, take every single dollar you were previously paying in interest and throw it at the principal. Do not change your monthly payment amount. If you were paying $1,000 across 3 cards before, you pay $1,000 to the single 0% card now. Step 6. Ignore the noise. For the next 6 months, delete Credit Karma from your phone. Unsubscribe from the Experian emails. Turn off the notifications. Your score is going to drop. You're going to see red arrows. Ignore them. You're operating on a higher level of financial literacy now. You're measuring your success by the shrinking balance of your debt, not by a synthetic 3-digit number. Let me tell you what happens on the other side of this. A year from now, you are going to make that final payment. Your balance is going to hit 0. You will have paid $0 in interest for over a year. You will have saved thousands, and the following month, your new updated credit report will be generated. The algorithms will see that your utilization has dropped from 95% down to 0%. Your score is going to slingshot back up. You will have your 800 credit score again, but this time it won't be a fragile 800 propped up by anxiety and minimum payments. It will be an armored 800 backed by a 0 debt balance sheet and massive monthly cash flow. You see, the wealthy do not care about credit scores the way the middle class does. The middle class treats the credit score like the end goal. The wealthy treat the credit score like a tool to leverage cheap capital. If leveraging that capital causes the score to temporarily dip, they don't bat an eye because they know the math works in their favor. It's time to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an investor. Your primary investment right now is paying off your high interest debt. If the cost of that investment is 50 points on your FICO score, you pay that cost with a smile on your face. Look, changing the way you view money is uncomfortable. It goes against everything we are taught by a society that runs on credit card transactions. But if you do what everyone else does, you are going to get what everyone else gets. And right now, what everyone else gets is a lifetime of debt, stress, and working until they are 75 years old just to keep up with the minimum payments. You deserve better than that. You work too hard for your money to hand it over to a banking executive just because you are scared of a green number turning orange on an app. Take the hit. Save the thousands, win the actual game. If this video completely shifted how you look at your debt, or if you're going to be a score destroyer Sarah starting today, leave a comment down below and tell me your plan. I want to hear from you. And as always, if you found value in this breakdown, please hit that like button. It actually really helps the channel out. And make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the next deep dive into how to beat the financial system at its own game. My name is Billy. Stop polishing the brass on a sinking ship and start patching the hole. I'll see you in the next one.